Oh, Dear Esther. Have you played that?
A little bit.
Okay, so we played the whole game, like we like quote unquote beat it or whatever. But we got to the end. It is the most frustrating game maybe in the history of mankind.
Well, why is that?
Because so it's a totally exploratory game. Like you're really just finding out the history of what happened to this person and on this island. There's no point, like, there's no point to what you're doing. Like, it's not like there literally is no aim. You're really just exploring.
Okay.
And so now,
exploring is a strong word. You are walking linearly through an environment until you get to the end of the game.
Well, I wouldn't say linearly. I would say you are, like, it's not like you're just walking one straight line. You are, there are certain paths you can take and certain ones you can't. And so, but what's frustrating about it is that you're basically exploring an island. Like, you're basically, it's like, you're put on an island, you're allowed to go in random caves. And then in these caves, there'll be all these photos splayed on the ground, or a, document that has writing on it that looks like it should be important, and you try to touch it, and it's just part of the ground. You can't.
Yeah, what's going on in this game?
Jesus. Is this how that movie about owls and protectors went? Because I'm very scared and turned on.
He looks mad.
So when Ian said linear, he didn't necessarily mean in the sense of like from like one line point.
Like you're
to
walking down a hallway.
Yeah.
But
right. Linear in that there is an A to B with not much room for travel throughout. Like the game is directing you exactly where to go, and like you said, you don't.
What that game does do, and so I played through this game twice, and what that game does do is the voiceovers you get are very, very different from playthrough to playthrough. So you do have to play through it multiple times to sort of piece together everything that's happening. But you're still just like walking from point A to B to C to D.
It doesn't give you the sense that you are really you feel like you're tricked. You feel like you have a game where it's very visually stunning, and I think like maybe unique for the time it came out for how like visually intricate it was.
Okay.
But you're like walking through, it leads you to believe that you have this whole island to explore, and then it shows you stuff and you can't pick it up, like you can't look at it, you can't like see it. And in a game where there's no like quote unquote point, where there's no like reward, it's so frustrating because you're like, okay, well, if I'm not going for a goal, then I want to be able to like spend time and like look at all the stuff and
So can I ask you then to frame it in the sense of reading a book but as a video game, and then how does that make you feel?
Books don't behave that way though.
But
Well, and Lucy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember your frustration with, what was it, Dear Esther, being that, like, I'm in this world and I can't interact with it in any way.
Right.
I can just move through it and things are told to me. But, like, it's hard to make a one-to-one comparison with how books work, because that is how books work. Yeah, you don't expect interactivity out of a book.
You can't interrogate a book beyond what. Like,
well,
it would be like if you were reading a choose your own adventure, but every adventure were the fucking same.
Well, it's actually kind of like a bad book. It is what it is, because it's like a book in which you're told, and then she walked by the cave. She knew there was something very important in there. The next day, she was at a coffee shop having a latte with her friend Mary, and then it never comes back to that.
It's like The Flamethrowers by Rachel Kushner. Fuck that book.
It's
what
like
a bitch.
It's like a veneer. It's like giving the veneer. It's like what?
Jeff is giving himself an edit note to cut out calling Rachel Kushner
I'm
a
gonna
bitch.
cut out the part where I call a person I don't know a bitch just because she wrote a book that Ian doesn't like.
Oh.
never write a book that he doesn't like.
Daddy knows best.
Daddy knows about good books.
I wish we wouldn't call Ian Daddy so frequently.
He's Daddy. Shut up.
You've always loved it.
That's not true.
This is my thing. Like, I loved the beginning of this game, and now I'm just like, I wish I were playing Super Metroid.
Yeah, I'm bored now.
Yeah, I'm not really attached to like why
I don't give a
Kuro
fuck
took
about
the
the
light.
skill tree, and like, it started out with this really compelling thing, and now it's all gone, and we're just like lighting up trees and gathering Brussels sprouts.
So, secretly, this game is like a fucking hard. Like, I've heard people actually compare this game favorably to Super Meat Boy. Like, what? Super technical platformer shit winds up happening in this game, which, like,
What does that mean?
Okay, so Super Meat Boy.
No, like, what is super technical?
Super technical platformer.
Yeah.
So,
Am I out of Sacred Flames?
I know what Meat Boy is.
Okay,
Oh.
there are parts in this game where, well, okay, so right at the very beginning when you accidentally loaded into my save, I am at this part, and I put this game down like 3 years ago, mind you. There's this part where, there is like a rising lava field or something, and so you have to like very quickly scale this area, and you have to like really quickly jump up walls and jump back and forth like from one wall to the other to avoid spikes, and then there are these kind of portals that you jump through and you wind up on the other side of them. And
so
like,
it takes a high skill.
Yeah, exactly. Like technical as in if you don't do exactly the right thing at the right time, you're fucking dead.
So do you enjoy that?
Sometimes.
I often do.
Because
Yeah.
I find that incredibly stressful.
It is really stressful, and it really, like, whether I'm into that or not is really kind of like a headspace thing more than anything else. Like, if I enjoy a game that is really fiddly, it's because I am kind of in the appropriate headspace to get to like actually just pound my head against something over and over again until I kind of internalize it and get it.
It's also so different for you, I think, than most just players, because you work in video games, right? Like,
yes, but like the kinds of what I work on is like casual fucking phone games, right? It's
yeah, but in terms of like how you're thinking, like do you like sometimes you play a video game and you just like are having the pure elation of it, right? But isn't part of sometimes like I can imagine it's like me when I read a book of poetry. Sometimes I read a poem and I'm like, just really, it's like capturing. I'm not thinking about anything else but that poem itself.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, wow, that's pretty crazy what they did with that sentence there.
I grew up playing, Mario Brothers and stuff like that, where it is entirely, yes, DuckTales, where it's entire, like, the entire thing is about just, like, fucking not dying, right? Like, there is nothing about Super Mario Brothers that you're supposed to get out of it other than, like, beating it. So, thank you.
Okay.
I got that.
Thanks.
Can't take him anywhere.
So because of that, it's like there is definitely a part of me that's like, yeah, I can fucking beat this game. You can't tell me what I can't do. Just like I just kind of get competitive with the systems, and it's like, oh yeah, you think you can tell? Like that's part of why, like that's that kind of vibe is part of why I'm into Dark Souls as much as I am, because like that's a game that is completely ambivalent to your experience as a player. Like there is a very complicated story there that it does not give a shit about whether or not you ever learn anything about it, but it's there if you care.
Is it actually complicated or just obscure?
It's both.
It's too obtuse, I think. It's not complicated though, right?
Well, it's both. I think it's both. It's like it is a pretty rich story. Like if they'd put out a novelization of Dark Souls, there would be something.
So maybe I'm being pedantic.
Good callback.
You pedantic ass motherfucker.
You little bitch fucker.
But like,
yeah, eat a dick.
The fact.
Love watching you play this while you eat my dick.
Yeah.
Also, I just realized I hit that switch like an hour ago and forgot to just come back and go here. So I'm sorry I've been doing nothing for so long.
That's okay. We're talking and not even looking at the TV. So
you're a loser, bitch.